Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today we're going to be talking about destruction in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, or in this case, the lack thereof. If there's one unfortunate thing you can count on Call of Duty doing, it's implementing a really cool feature in one title and it never returning again. And I'm worried that the destruction we saw in Call of Duty Vanguard will go the way of the perk system from Call of Duty Ghosts, or customizable score streaks from Advanced Warfare. Now, Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer is shaping up to look pretty good, other than its perk system, footstep sounds, some visibility things, whatever. When it comes down to it, I'm excited, but what stood out to me is just how static and boring these multiplayer maps are. I don't think we need Vanguard levels of destruction to have fun. I would just like any amount of moving part. Going back to Modern Warfare 2019's static maps with opening and closing doors is regressive to me. Doors can provide interesting choke points and ways to play around certain objectives, but they're not a substitute for real interactability in my opinion. But even Black Ops 4 had interactability on its maps, like you had the ability to raise and lower a bridge on a certain map, there was a secret doorway on Hacienda, and a couple other little things as well. Looking back to games like Call of Duty Ghosts and Advanced Warfare, and hell, even Black Ops 1 and 2, those games allow you to interact with the maps, or the maps will have some sort of hazard you have to look out for, or some sort of dynamic event or moving piece that comes into play occasionally, and that makes the maps, in my opinion, feel more alive, more memorable, more dynamic. In Call of Duty Vanguard, the maps will have some weather going on them. They toned that down a lot after the beta, so it's not as noticeable, but you know, it's snowing, or it's raining, or you can blow a hole in the side of an area near an objective. You can turn a really prominent camper spot into Swiss cheese. Or you have maps like Decoy, where the entire map is essentially destructible. At least every primary wall is destructible. And then in Black Ops Cold War, on the larger maps that have opening and closing doors, the doors are destructible. And then right back to Vanguard, obviously the doors are completely shreddable. So that's awesome. I actually really like that about those games. So going into Modern Warfare 2 and having zero interactability other than the occasional opening and closing indestructible door is regressive. I really miss how Call of Duty Ghosts handled interactable environments. Usually there was a large set piece that could be interacted with or that would affect the map in some way. But other than that, there were just, walls you could breach or a moving part here or there like a conveyor belt or something. And what really sucks is that we didn't see any of that in the beta. I didn't want to see maps as static as actual Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. I was at least hoping for Black Ops 1 levels of interactability, but it looks like we're not getting that. Now I know swimming will be a part of the multiplayer, and that's awesome, and we did get to see that in the ground war modes, but I'm sorry. Swimming's a cool mechanic, and if it's put in the right spots, it can be very interesting, but it doesn't really fit the bill of interactability. It doesn't make me feel like I can touch the map and change it. Just having a 6v6 map with a movable roadblock and an ATV would add a lot of character to that map and to the map roster in general. When it comes down to it, if you're gonna make 10 Call of Duty maps, I think 5 of them should be larger, more complicated with pieces of interactability. Things that can be destroyed, things that can be moved, maybe even small vehicles that can be driven, like a motorcycle or an ATV. I mean, really put a lot of work into these maps. Really make sure that they are unique, that they stand out, that they provide interesting gimmicks to a play session. And then the other 5 can be more static, more competitive, more predictable, more traditional 3-lane. It should be a Call of Duty dev team's goal to have half the maps be one thing and half the maps be the other. Introduce map voting so the community can really decide what the hell they want on a match-to-match basis, instead of seemingly designing an entire roster of maps towards one type of playstyle or sticking to one type of design philosophy, which I think just heavily limits the playstyles you're allowed to enjoy and the variety of an overall play session. For me, Call of Duty has been sort of played to death. I don't mean this in a bad way, I mean it in just a really pragmatic, saying it how it is way. Call of Duty has been around for a while, and the basic formula of 6v6 multiplayer hasn't exactly changed. New gimmicks and interesting features are a big deal when it comes to an annual franchise that insists on being an annual franchise. And if you want me, somebody who just enjoys public matches, to sit and enjoy your game, you have to give me a variety of experiences so that matches don't blend together in my head. I don't want experience fatigue where it feels like every match is essentially playing out at the same pace, the same way, with the same engagement ranges, and just more and more of the same, obviously. Obviously, there's other things: skill-based matchmaking, lobby disbanding, progression systems. There are other things, but the big one for me, personally, is maps. One of the things that allowed me to have a lot of fun in Vanguard at launch was just a wide variety of maps, and the fact that every map had this level of interactability and destructibility that would factor into some matches and not others, meaning the matches were more distinct from each other. I had a lot to sink my teeth into with the progression, leveling things up, getting things unlocked, but then also having a nice variety of maps and places to fight. We don't exactly know how many maps are launching with Modern Warfare 2. There have been some leaks and some rumors, but no official statements as to how many maps we're getting. But quantity aside, I just wish the maps had a little bit more personality. I wish they had a little bit more life to them. This is honestly why I wish Call of Duty would do dynamic weather and day and night cycles, so that every time you load into a map, it could be a different time of day. FPS games have proven for a long time that you can change the time of day without hurting visibility or making it affect gameplay drastically. It'd be really cool if you could load into these maps and sometimes it's evening with a little bit of rain, sometimes it's snowing, sometimes it's broad daylight, sometimes it's a little bit overcast. Adding some distant fog and some cloudy skies and just a slightly darker color palette would be really cool to see. It doesn't have to hurt visibility, it can just change the tone of the map. But again, that type of system combined with interactability or destructibility, or just things that allow you to, like I said earlier, touch the map, it would be really nice. I mean, honestly to me, Call of Duty's two big areas it needs to improve on is maps and actual class creation. I'll talk about that more in another video, but this video is focusing on maps. I like Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer, but I am sad to see that maps just haven't been innovated on. In my opinion, they haven't been properly innovated on since games like Call of Duty Ghosts and Advanced Warfare, and really, Vanguard. Gotta give credit where credit's due. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? What do you think about map design in Modern Warfare 2 and the future of Call of Duty? Do you think interactability and destruction's a dumb gimmick? Do you want maps to be more simplistic and easier to predict? Or would you like my 50-50 idea or my dynamic weather and time of day idea? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.